When I was in school, a poster on the wall of my sister's room had a picture of a cute kitten and a title that read, "I would if I could, but I can't, so I won't." Now, thankfully, that poster wasn't there in the childhood study of American mathematical scientist George Bernard Danzig. The poster in his room perhaps read, "I didn't know I couldn't, so I did." Hi, welcome back to Stories at Work, a series where I share real stories from across the world that you can use when you're trying to drive home a business point. Our website, www.storyworks.in, already has over 100 stories, and we are adding one every week. Let's start today's story. A version of this story creates the introductory scenes of the Robin Williams and Matt Damon movie Good Will Hunting. In 1939, George Danzig enrolled in the doctoral program in mathematics at the University of California, Berkeley, where he studied statistics under a very well-known mathematician, Jerzy Neyman. Now, one day during his first year at Berkeley, Danzig arrived late to one of Jerry Newman's classes. Now, as he slunk into the back, he saw that on the blackboard, Professor Neyman had written down 2 math problems. Danzig assumed that these had been assigned for homework and quickly copied them down. The next few evenings, Danzig struggled with these problems, cursing himself for being late to the class that day. He thought perhaps the professor had given everyone some clues of how to solve these really, really difficult problems. Now, finally, after trying for a few days, Danzig managed to solve both the problems. So the next day, he met Professor Neyman and apologized for taking so long to do the homework. The problems, he told Professor Neyman, seemed to be a little harder than usual. Danzig then asked Professor Neyman whether he still wanted the submission, and Professor Neyman just asked him to throw it on his desk. Now, Danzig did that, but did it very reluctantly because the professor's desk was covered with a heap of papers, and Danzig was not sure his homework wouldn't get lost forever. Anyway, he submits and forgets about it. About 6 weeks later, one Sunday morning at about 8 a.m., Danzig and his wife were awakened by someone banging on their front door. It was Professor Neyman. As Danzig, sleepily rubbing his eyes, opens the door, the professor rushed in with a bunch of papers in his hand, all excited, saying, "I've just written an introduction to one of your papers. Read it quickly. I want to send it out right away for publication." Now, for a minute, Danzig had no idea what Professor Neyman was talking about. Now, when Professor Neyman realized that Danzig wasn't understanding the importance of the solution, he sat him down and explained that the problems on the blackboard that Danzig had solved, thinking that they were homework, were in fact 2 famous unsolved problems in mathematics. In fact, some people even call them unsolvable problems in mathematics. Many great mathematicians had tried and failed to solve these 2 problems. Professor Neyman had written them on the blackboard when describing unsolvable problems in mathematics. The paper was published and was hailed in mathematical circles as a breakthrough. A small byline a year later, when Danzig began to worry about the thesis topic, Neyman just shrugged and told him, "Wrap those 2 problems in a binder and give them, I'll accept them as the thesis." What a story. Isn't that a great example of the power of belief, the power of positive thinking? As Danzig mentions in a later interview, there was no way he would have even tried his hand at solving those problems if he had reached the class on time and heard Professor Neyman call them 2 of the most famous unsolved problems in mathematics. Mindset is such an incredible thing. It has such an incredible impact on performance. This is also a great example that our beliefs and our expectations determine outcomes. If we believe we can, we usually do. And the opposite is also true. If we think we can't, then we will probably fail. Also, there's a beautiful myth about the bumblebee flight that based on known aerodynamics, the bumblebee shouldn't be able to fly. The idea is the bumblebee's wings are too small for the size of his bodies, but apparently the bumblebee flies because no one told them they couldn't. A cute story, but a myth. This George Danzig story is an authentic one and can replace that very myth that if no one told you you can't solve it, You probably can. I hope you liked that story. If you did, you can find many, many more on our website www.storyworks.in. These stories are searchable using the business point you want to make. For example, if you go to our website, go to the Story Bank section, and the search field, if you key in either beliefs, expectation, positive mindset, you will find the story. So when you're looking for a story, go to our website and search for your keyword. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find a story that you could use. The website and our YouTube channel has 2 playlists. The Story Bank playlist, which already has 67 stories, contains stories like this, real incidences that you can share to drive home a business point, or indeed inspire people to take action. The other playlist is called Leaders Speak. That has videos where leaders have shared stories that have created opinions they have. If you're sharing the same opinion with your team or driving home a similar message, you could use that story. Thanks for listening. See you next week.